Welcome back, everybody, to The Deep Dive. Today we're diving deep into something I think a lot of you are already curious about, the ASUS Zenfone 8. So picture this. You want a phone that's powerful, but you don't want it to feel like you're carrying around a brick in your pocket.
Yeah.
That'd
be it.
You pretty much hit the nail on the head there. It's almost like they, took all the high-end specs that you'd expect from a flagship phone and just crammed it into this tiny little package that actually fits comfortably in your hand and your pocket.
So RechargeMyTopup.com is highlighting this Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset. I'm seeing up to 16 gigs of RAM and 8K video capabilities.
Oh, wow.
What does all that really mean for someone actually using this phone, though?
Okay, so imagine, like editing a 4K video right on your phone, no lag, no problem. That's the kind of power we're talking about with the Snapdragon 888. And it's pretty crazy to see it in a phone this compact, to be honest. Usually, chips that powerful are reserved for the, much larger phones on the market. So you're saying it really does live up to that flagship in your pocket idea?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And don't forget about that 120 hertz refresh rate on the 5.9-inch AMOLED display.
I was going to say, what does that really mean in real-world use? For someone who's not super techie, what does that actually, look like when you're using the phone?
Think of it this way. Scrolling through your Instagram feed or, switching between apps is going to feel super smooth, almost like butter. It just makes the entire phone experience more responsive and fluid.
Okay, I like that. The article also mentioned IP68 dust and water resistance. How deep could you actually take this phone underwater?
Well, I wouldn't recommend taking it scuba diving. But the IP68 rating means it can survive being submerged in up to 1.5 meters of water for 30 minutes. But honestly, the real benefit is the peace of mind it gives you. Accidental spills or getting caught in the rain, it's not going to be the end of the world.
Okay, that makes sense. One thing that really caught my eye is this phone still has a headphone jack.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like those are going extinct.
It's true. They're definitely becoming less common. Some people love the freedom of wireless, but you can't deny that there are some real advantages to the good old-fashioned headphone jack, like, the reliability, the audio quality, especially for the audiophiles out there.
Yeah.
The Zenfone 8 gives you the option, which is pretty cool.
Speaking of options, RechargeMyTopup.com really emphasizes that the Zenfone 8 is surprisingly affordable, especially when you look at all of these features. How is ASUS pulling that off?
I think they're really going after a specific user here. The person who wants performance and portability but isn't necessarily worried about things like, for example, wireless charging, which this phone doesn't have. By really honing in on that niche, they can cut costs elsewhere and deliver a really competitive price.
So maybe this is a good time to talk about what the phone doesn't have. We already mentioned wireless charging, which I know is a deal breaker for some people.
Right. But then again, with 30-watt fast charging, you can power up this phone crazy fast anyway.
I know. I used to be all about the wireless charging. Now that fast charging has gotten so good, I'm starting to wonder if it's really that important anymore.
Yeah, I think it comes down to personal preference at the end of the day. Some people just can't imagine life without it, while others, they'd rather have the speed over the convenience. And the Zenfone 8 is definitely leaning into that speed aspect.
It does sound like it. And one thing they didn't skimp on is the design. The article even highlights the cool color options they're offering, like obsidian black and horizon silver.
Yeah, and it's amazing how they managed to pack all of this tech into a phone that weighs only 169 grams. That's insanely light for a phone with this much power. You really won't even feel it in your pocket. And
speaking of not skimping, they've got those stereo speakers tuned by Dirac.
Oh, yeah.
Those make a big difference when you're, watching videos or listening to music.
High-quality audio can definitely make or break the smartphone experience these days.
Totally. They also have that Zen UI 8, right, that offers, a ton of customization options.
Exactly. Yeah, you can customize almost every aspect of the phone, themes, app organization, the whole 9 yards. Zen UI 8 really puts you in control.
Okay, so to sum it all up, this phone is powerful, it's compact, it's packed with features, and it's surprisingly affordable. What's not to love?
And I think that's what's so interesting about this phone. It's not just about having the most powerful specs. It's about finding the perfect balance of performance, size, features, design, and of course, price. It's a combination that could appeal to a really wide audience, honestly.
It sounds like the Zenfone 8 is proving that good things really do come in small packages.
I think that's a great way to put it. It definitely challenges the idea that you need a massive phone to get the best performance, and that's a really exciting development in the smartphone world, I think.
Okay, so we spent a good amount of time talking talking about what this phone can do, all the cool features and specs. But I'm curious, who is this phone actually for? Like, who is the ideal Zenfone 8 user?
That's the million-dollar question, right? I think if you take a step back and look at the big picture, this phone is perfect for someone who really values both power and portability. Someone who's maybe tired of lugging around a phone the size of a brick, but still wants that top-tier performance.
Someone who wants to have their cake and eat it too, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And let's not forget that it comes in at a lower price point than a lot of its competitors, which makes it even more attractive.
Maybe it's for the budget-conscious consumer who doesn't want to compromise on quality.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like, a smart choice for people who understand what's important to them and aren't necessarily swayed by all the marketing hype for bigger, more expensive phones that might not actually offer that much more.
After talking about all of this, I kind of feel like I could walk into a store, pick up a Zenfone 8, and actually know what I'm getting.
Well, that's what we're aiming for, giving you the knowledge to make informed decisions. But here's a thought to chew on before we move on. Given everything we've discussed today, do you think this type of phone, small but mighty, is the future of the smartphone market?
Ooh, that's a good one. I guess only time will tell.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn even more about compact phones, maybe we'll do a deep dive into, the best cases to protect these little pocket rockets.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and keep sending us your questions. Okay, so we've covered a lot about what makes this phone awesome, but what about the things it doesn't have? The article calls out that there's no wireless charging, which is a deal breaker for some.
Yeah, that's true. But with the 30-watt fast charging, you can get this thing powered up so quickly.
Right.
Is wireless charging even that big of a deal if you're only, topping up for a few minutes here and there?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm starting to rethink my own obsession with wireless charging now. It's all about those trade-offs, right? The Zenfone 8 is all about power and efficiency in a small package. And honestly, wired charging these days is so fast.
Yeah, it is. So it sounds like this phone is for a very specific person, someone who really values, those things above everything else.
Totally. It's for someone who wants a phone that can handle demanding tasks, but doesn't want to be weighed down. It's kind of like a statement, like, I don't need this giant phone to be productive.
Speaking of which, the article mentioned how sleek the design is, especially in the obsidian black and horizon silver colors.
Right, and they managed to do that without sacrificing durability. Remember, it's IP68 rated, so it's not afraid of a few bumps and splashes.
Oh yeah, that's right. So it's stylish and durable. That's a good combo.
Yeah.
But let's get back to that target user. Who do you think is going to be most drawn to this phone?
It's going to be someone who's, I think, kind of tired of the status quo, They want a phone that matches their values, like efficiency and practicality. They don't need to be swayed by, flashy marketing or the latest, greatest thing.
Maybe someone who appreciates something a little more understated.
Exactly, yeah. They get that true luxury isn't about showing off. It's about having a device that just works for them.
You're making me want to get rid of my big phone and go get the Zenfone 8 right now.
Well, before you do that, consider one more thing. The article mentioned the direct-tuned stereo speakers.
Oh, yeah.
They make a huge difference when you're watching videos or listening to music.
Oh, I totally forgot about those. So we've got powerful, we've got compact, we've got durable, stylish, and great sound. What more could you ask for?
Well, some might say wireless charging, but we've talked about that, right? It's all about priorities.
Yeah, and the Zenfone 8 seems pretty clear on what its priorities are. It's interesting to think about how this phone, goes against what we think a flagship phone should be.
Definitely. And it makes you wonder, is this a sign of what's to come in the smartphone world? Are we going to see more of these compact, efficient, well-designed devices?
That's a really cool thought. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how the market responds. But if this is anything to go by, the future of smartphones could be way more interesting than we thought.
And a lot lighter, both literally and in our wallets.
So true. Okay, so before we end this deep dive, I just want to quickly touch on that Zen UI 8 that was mentioned in the article. Can you tell us a bit more about the customization it offers?
Sure, yeah. Zen UI 8 basically lets you tailor the phone's interface to your liking. So you can choose different themes, rearrange apps, basically tweak the whole look and feel of the OS to suit your preferences.
So it's really about giving users more control over their phone experience.
Exactly. It's recognizing that not everyone wants the same thing. Some want a clean, minimalist look. Others want bold and colorful. Zen UI 8 gives you the flexibility to, choose what works for you.
I like that. Makes it feel more personal.
Yeah, totally. That sense of ownership, I think, gets lost sometimes when we just focus on specs and features. But at the end of the day, it's all about how the phone makes you feel.
That's a really great point. And the Zenfone 8 sounds like it's designed to make you feel like empowered and in control.
And maybe even a little rebellious, you know.
Love that. Okay, so we've covered a ton today, from the Zenfone 8's awesome specs and compact design to its potential influence on the future of smartphones.
It's been a great deep dive, and hopefully everyone listening now has a much better understanding of this really unique phone.
Definitely. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final question to think about. After learning about the Zenfone 8, do you think compact phones are making a comeback? Is this the start of a trend where we'll see more powerful phones that are easy to handle and carry around?
That's the question we all need to be asking, right? Only time will tell for sure. But the Zenfone 8 makes a really strong argument for the benefits of a smaller, more efficient device. Sometimes less really is more.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll catch you next time.